What's up? Welcome to the Downstem. I'm here with my guy, Drew Starke. Andrew, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks a lot for having me.
You might know him from Mercer University. You might know him from the front office of your favorite NBA team. I know him from owning a minor league baseball team. Let's hear his story, bro.
Where do you want me to start, Troy? I mean, it
Dude,
starts
I
a
don't
long
know,
time
man.
ago. I'm no spring chicken anymore.
Oh, man. You are probably younger than most people in your position, so.
Well, I started a long time ago, and I think before I tell my full story, it kind of starts back in about '05. Was it when you and I met each other? You and I were working over at Palm Springs Stadium with a power baseball team.
Yes.
And you were, I mean, you couldn't have been, what, 14?
Yeah, 14.
14 years old, you were doing all kinds of stuff for us. I don't know if there was child labor laws or anything against that at that point,
You know,
but
I don't know, man. I was just happy to be there. I was so excited to work there.
we had a ton of fun back in the day with you over there. You were a hard worker, and when you and I reconnected a year and a half or so ago, it was kind of a trip down memory lane.
Right.
So two old friends who hadn't seen each other in
In at least 10 years.
decade plus. I mean, we're talking, yes, long time ago, 15, probably closer to.
We probably, like, how I even saw that I saw you on the news probably 7 months before I ever met you. And I was like, I'm going to work there. Fuck this. I'm 100% going to work there. And I had that, like, in my mind since they were like, hey, they're going to reopen the stadium. I was like, are they hiring? I think I wrote you a letter and I was like, I don't even know if I can legally work. You don't have to pay me. I'll just come here.
But you did all kinds of stuff at the ballpark. You helped us set up. You helped us break down. You helped us with fans. You helped us with contests. There's probably no job there that you didn't do and you weren't willing to do. And obviously now you're extremely successful.
I think everything but sell alcohol I did at that
Yeah,
ballpark.
that would have been frowned upon
Yeah.
at that time. But my story, I was born in Michigan, but my parents did not like the cold, and they'd been there for 20 plus years, and so they decided in probably 30 years that they were going to move to Texas. So when I was 7 years old, my folks moved down to Houston, Texas, and I grew up just outside of Houston in a community called Kingwood. Grew up with one brother in my house. He's 7 years younger than me. My folks, middle class America. Two parents both work full time. Into sports. Into
What was your first sport? What sport was like your
first
love?
sport was always baseball. I always loved baseball, but in Texas, you have to play football, and football was fun. I was pretty quick when I was younger, and so I got to play running back and wide receiver, and I was an undersized defensive end when I was in sixth grade.
You had high gloss positions.
I wasn't big enough to go play like line or linebacker or anything along those lines, but I had a ton of fun playing football. And my best friend of the day was a high school football player back there, and I used to go and watch all of our high school classmates my junior senior year that were still playing. I went exclusively to baseball. I went to a pretty big high school. We had 900 kids in our graduating class.
Okay.
So I remember sitting next to a kid named Richie Starley in our graduation and be like, dude, I have never seen, let alone hung out with or know half these people in our
Dude, that's
graduating
crazy.
class. I mean, 906 kids graduating class, over 3,500 to 4,000 in the entire school.
And you had been playing sports all that time, so you pretty much knew a lot of people. So to
Right.
find people
And
at
you knew
senior
people in
year,
your
you're not
cliques.
still
I mean,
don't know.
Ultimately, you've got a clique where it's, guys who play the same sport as you, or friends that you have that you'll go out and see out at a party or whatever.
What city was this in Texas?
It's called Kingwood, Texas. It's on the northeast side of Houston.
Okay, so a pretty metropolis.
The suburb that, we had all kinds of people.
But you're not like out in West Texas where it's
I
like,
was
hey, everybody knows
huge,
it's
hot,
tiny.
humid, miserable summers, but that's all I kind of knew.
Yeah.
So when I come out to California, years later, and it's really hot,
Percent humidity.
you don't have the humidity. So I'll take the dry heat any day of the week over the humidity. Then after high school, my dad was getting transferred out to Florida. So my parents were going to move to Florida. My brother was going to move out there. And I found a school that I could go to, and I went out and I played junior college baseball out
Okay.
there in Florida. After I was done in junior college, I got a scholarship.
Did you think like that you were like when you left high school to go to Florida, where you're like, I'm gonna keep going in baseball. I'm gonna go somewhere.
I wanted
nice.
to. I wanted to keep playing the game and wanted to keep trying to get better at it. And I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to get an education and play baseball and kind of go from there without driving myself into debt. And obviously community colleges, junior colleges, they're less expensive than, 4-year schools, and we could get scholarships. So I was able to get a scholarship and go and play.
Oh, shit.
And after my sophomore year, I was fortunate enough to have a successful season. Our team had a very successful season. I got a scholarship to Mercer University, and I didn't know anything about Mercer. Never heard of Mercer University. And I was living in the Tampa Bay area, and Mercer was 7 hours north up the 75 freeway.
Tampa Bay and junior college has to be lit.
That
has to be a
I
cool
was just
experience.
south of Tampa, kind of down in the Bay in a community called Bradenton.
Okay.
And we're the number 3 ranked junior college in the country. And we were legit. Every one of our starting 9 offensive guys either got drafted, signed pro, or went to went to a Division I program. Our top 6 pitchers went Division I or pro. We had legitimate guys on this club.
Okay.
And it was fun playing because we won a ton of games. And then Mercer, it's in the middle of the state of Georgia. It was in a conference at the time called the Atlantic Sun. We had 4 teams in the Atlantic Sun that were in the top 25 in the country in baseball. That's more than the ACC had at the time. We had 3 pitchers my junior year that were first-round draft picks. So we were seeing constantly 92, 95, 97 mile-an-hour fastballs, on the weekends. And our midweek games, we'd play other SEC, ACC schools in the region, which are Georgia, Georgia Tech, Florida, Florida State, Auburn.
Baseball powers.
Yes, absolutely. And we were a middle-of-the-road team. In reality, I mean, we were a little better than 500. We had good ball players, but we played great competition. And I'm very fortunate to have gone there, got an education. I ended up meeting my wife there. She was a freshman All-American, all-conference volleyball player.
Dang, you guys just celebrated your 5th anniversary?
15th anniversary.
15th.
Yes,
Holy shit.
we just celebrated 15 years this past week. And,
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And she's definitely the one with the most athleticism in our family. So we've got 3 kids. And I've always said, I really hope they get her athleticism. You can have, some of my drives, some of my, intangibles. But when it comes to athleticism, I had a good idea what I was doing when,
for sure. When you made that choice.
when I made that choice with my wife.
Yeah, for sure, bro. That's crazy because you're two Division I athlete parents, and with guidance, they're gonna be like, hey, look, you can do anything really, but you're gonna have some athleticism. So if you want to go play some sports, you're going to be pretty good.
And what we tell our kids is, hey, you don't have to play baseball. You don't have to play volleyball. You don't have to play soccer, football, swimming, whatever. But you need to do something. You're going to do something. You're going to be active. Your time is going to be taken up with your school, tutoring, athletics, whatever. I mean, I got 3 kids. I've got a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old boys, and then a 5-year-old girl. My 10-year-old boy, he loves playing with Legos. Awesome, dude. We'll buy all kinds of Lego things. I don't really want to build Legos, but I'll sit there with you while you're building the Legos. My older son likes watching NASCAR with me. And when, I don't know, do you watch NASCAR ever?
Occasionally. I know enough about it.
Okay, so we happen to be watching this past Sunday, and it was one of the most amazing finishes to a NASCAR race. And this driver had to go in the matter of 2 turns on a short track from 10th place to 5th place to advance in the playoffs. And Ross Chastain was his name. And he went around, he put his car in 5th gear, drove it into the wall, and he never slowed down going around the gas on the brake, because otherwise it's a flat track. You're just going to go up and hit it, and then you'll spin out. He put it in 5th gear and went around. He slingshot. YouTube, it's like he's in fast forward and everybody else is just in normal speed, and it's a move that you might have done in old school video games and that kind of stuff. And it beat his driver that he roots for, and he was just livid. I mean, 10, 12-year-old throwing a tantrum that my guy lost. And it's
Did his guy get bumped out of the...
Yes, his guy got bumped out of the playoffs because
no.
his guy went from 4th to 5th, and this guy went from 10th to 4th. Or 5th.
And that point differential.
The point differential was the difference in advance. And for these guys, we're talking millions of dollars on the line with these teams and these crews and all this stuff. And it was a dangerous, risky move. And it could really only be done on certain courses that you can do it on. And he got away with it in Martinsville. And at the end of the day, no one's going to really remember who won that race, and it was Christopher Bell, and he's in the playoffs, and great young driver. They're not going to remember that Denny Hamlin got missed out. They're going to remember Ross Chastain did something no one has ever seen, and kids will be kids, and they like it, they love it, they hate it, they pout, they do whatever, and
it'll be one of those moments where when he's doing something crazy, he's gonna be like, "Hey, I'm gonna steal home. This is gonna be my Ross Chastain moment."
Exactly.
Gone, you know,
Coach won't want him to steal home. He's like, "Coach, I've got this," and he just starts walking, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Oh, there he goes.
Oh, he did it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You know what? You're lucky you didn't eat that baseball bat because we didn't tell the batter not to swing
at all. Yeah,
and you dove through his legs. You did something.
Hey, you risked it. Hey, you got to throw your car around the corner sometimes, you know?
Exactly. So, let's see.
So, we're back at Macon. You
back at Macon.
You guys, you're playing baseball, but that is pretty crazy when you think about that. It's, you know, to them, you look on the schedule, to a lot of guys probably look at that schedule and go, oh, hey, we got Mercer, you know, on Wednesday. A lot of those SEC guys, we got Mercer on Wednesday. And you guys are like, hey, yeah, we come back and play these dudes that all came up to play D1. But during the week, we got to go play Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee. And, you know,
well, I mean, on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're playing the University of Central Florida. That they had two guys, Jason Arnold and Justin Pope, were both first-round draft picks my junior year. So Friday, Saturday, we have both of those guys as starters, and one of them held the NCAA record for most consecutive scoreless innings that he took from Roger Clemens.
Jeez.
And we get a run off of him, and we end up losing, you know, 2 of the 3 games against them. Then, you know, Tuesday we come back and we've got to, you know, drive up to Atlanta and play Georgia Tech. Then the next weekend we come back down. We got to go to Fort Lauderdale or Boca and play Florida Atlantic. That's number 15 in the country. And so, yes, we had that, but that's no different than guys playing in the SEC when they've got Alabama, Mississippi State, Arkansas week after week after week. And that's the competition, and that's what you want. You don't want to play Mary's School of the Blind.
Yeah, no, but you guys were like, you guys were always punching up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you guys are just like, hey, like for a lot of people, it's like, hey, we got an off night this week. And you guys are like, no, we're ballers. We're coming to take everybody every week, you know, like.
And we're a 500, a little better than 500 club. So we would take our lumps. But at the same time, we got to go and play. I remember playing at LSU in front of 10,000 people, and they've got, you know, they got people in the stands out in left field, the grandstands in right field are heckling the right fielder. I'm catching, I'm behind home. So you've got all the older, you know, season ticklers there. And they're not really heckling me. They're past that. They're not the college
you
students
got all those
drinking beer.
All the alums sitting right there on the plate.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was fun. So we got to play in really cool places. It was a great experience being a college athlete. And I tell, you know, my kids and kids that they play with, if you have the opportunity to play college athletics, whether it's at the Division 1, 2, 3, junior college, NAIA level, do it from the standpoint of it'll keep you focused on doing the right things, because you got to get up in the morning and go and train and do weights and run and all that stuff, and you can't go out, you know, party all night long and then get up at 5 in the morning and go do that. So it'll keep you on the right track so that you're doing the things that'll help you be successful in life. And then you're going to make a good group of friends because it's people going through the same things as you. It's not just a student. All right, cool. They might be very intelligent and they can just knock grades out because they can do it. But
it might not be the right thing for the long run. It could work for them right now, but that's not the example.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter to me whether someone wants to swim, do debate, do baseball, volleyball, whatever. Be involved in something. It'll give you a good core group of people to surround yourself with that have similar desires and goals and objectives, and all done with athletics at some point. You can be a golfer for a long time. You can play the piano for a long time. You can be in debate and become a lawyer or politician or whatever for a long time. But you're developing skills, and that's really what college is kind of about. It's not, I passed trig with a B plus.
Yeah.
All right, great. I passed quant, or I had a philosophical class or a history. Am I using that stuff? Some of it, yes, but it's mainly teaching you how to get through life. And that's adding something else to your daily to-do list to be successful, checking boxes.
Checking boxes and just setting up a solid foundation. Like, because now it's just like, it's programmed. You're like, hey, I don't know. I get up, I run. I was doing this. Even if you were just in cross country in college, it's like, hey, I went and was part of this, and now it's set up a good foundation.
Or even if you have a job and you're working, somewhere on campus. And I know there's a lot of people that don't go to college. And my brother didn't go to college, and he's got a great job and he's successful. And you can be very successful in life if you have the opportunity to go and participate in athletics, like I was fortunate enough to do. I encourage
100%.
people to do that.
No, 100%. Even for the school ticket, they should.
Yeah. And now $400,000 on a musical history degree, and you don't want to be a teacher, I'd say that might not be the best way to spend your resources.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
You want to go get an engineering degree because you love golf and you want to build golf clubs, or you love race car driving, and you want to build an engine, and you want to be around the racetrack every day, but you're not stupid enough to get in a car and drive 200 miles an hour, because you got to be a little crazy, not stupid, but crazy to do that on the regular. So, I encourage my kids, be an engineer. My father-in-law was an engineer. That is a recession-proof job.
Right. Things are always going to need to keep going.
That's a pandemic-proof job. There always needs an engineer to build something, whether it's your house or it's a bridge or...
No, I have some friends that do that are like, I was like, why did you guys have to get an engineer? And they're like, because we have to make sure that this table we're trying to make holds this machine we built, and somebody has to make sure it's all structural. And I was like, oh shit, I would have just been out here being like, oh, we can sell these, let's sell them. And they're like, no, you have to have somebody make sure that your building can hold this machine. Like, oh,
exactly.
shit.
Exactly. Dude. So after college.
When did you realize that, while you were playing baseball, did you realize that you were like, okay, I'm going to use these connections I'm making with all these guys at the next level no matter what it is? Or did you think, you know what, fuck it, like everything's going to be baseball related. I'm just going to.
No, I did not think about any of that. I played college baseball, and in the summers I went and played summer baseball in different places around the country, in Virginia and Florida and wherever, and I enjoyed it. When I was not drafted after my senior year, and because basically there were guys that were better than me, just flat out bigger, stronger, and better than me. I was good enough. I hit 300, hit half a dozen home runs and drove in runs and did all kinds of stuff. But there were guys that were just flat out better than me. They got drafted, they signed, and I said, okay, no one wants to give me $1 million to play baseball. Cool. I got a free education out of it. I met great friends, and I'm going to figure out a way to stay involved in sports. So my first job was I went down to Orlando, and I worked as an intern for the University of Central Florida in their athletic department, in their ticket office and business office. So I got to see athletic directors, talk to them, meet them, see how that process really kind of worked, from being an athlete on the other side of, the counter or the desk or whatever, to seeing people behind the scenes and working, football games and baseball games and basketball games and answering phones and doing
at a pretty big. What year is this?
So I graduated in probably about August of 2002.
This is kind of right as they're like kind of jumping up to that next conference and getting like a bigger stadium, and like they're kind of growing,
They hadn't
right?
built the new stadium. They still played at the Citrus Bowl, and they were good. Their baseball team was great. Softball team was great. Soccer was really good. Football.
Oh yeah, they have a solid soccer.
I want to say football was in the MAC conference at the time, and so they were constantly going to like Ohio and the Midwest and playing games up there. I want to say they're farther ones. They'd go to ASU and play.
Yeah, for sure.
They bring teams down, and it was a cool athletic department to be a part of. And I worked there probably only until about February, March time period, because I also was moonlighting working for the Orlando Magic. So for the Orlando Magic, I do game night stuff.
Okay.
And that was really cool because I stood as close to you to the bench, and I'd do on-court promotions and set up before and help with, different things for the executives and whatever. And by no means was I an executive or anything like that. I was part of the game night, crew that came in on all the game days, and we worked there and we got paid for it, and it was fun. But I was networking.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're running out there, putting out the shit for the
halftime, intermission,
a little break, timeout. They're doing a little free throw contest. Roll the ball from half court. You're putting out the props. You're running them back in.
A lot of the things that I ask our staff to do when we've got games over at Palm Springs Stadium. And I did that, and I met a guy backstage who was a former journalist for the Detroit Morning Free Press, and he was doing some online stuff, and he had a press pass. And so the guy had some credibility because he somehow, some way, and he and I were just kind of talking one because they give you a meal, and we were sitting there talking, and he said he was starting a baseball organization out in Long Beach, California. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Good luck with that. I hope it works well. And then I saw him again like another night, a week or so later, and then a couple weeks later I saw him again, and I just kind of say hello and be friendly or whatever. And then we went out to dinner and we talked, and the guy offered me a job. He's like, hey, you come out to California, I can give you lodging, I can put you up at a hotel, I can give you all kinds of, meals, and then you're going to work, and this is your salary and your commissions. And I'm 23 at the time, and I'm like, you know what? This is an adventure.
Yeah,
for sure. California, if it doesn't work, I come back home, and I had an adventure. Let's figure it out. You know what? I went to Long Beach. I drove to Atlanta, picked up a buddy, drove cross country, flew him back, and I worked there for the guy for 6 months. And I had a really good time living in California. And Long Beach was a fun city. I learned to surf, learned to snowboard. I played golf in the afternoons. I made some money, and it was a good time. And then after working for him for 6 months, I said, okay, I don't want to work for him anymore, but I don't necessarily want to leave California, put my tail between my legs.
This is cool. I got a little taste of this. What can I do? I got a little
taste of this, so I'm going to see if I can start my own business. So I'm 23. I put together a business plan. I go out to a couple different cities. I'm like, hey, what are your thoughts of having a summer collegiate baseball team? Taking college baseball players that are 20, 21, 22 years old. They come out, they play for us. We bring teams in from outside the area. We sell beer, tickets, billboards, all that kind of stuff. And Palm Springs, they said, this is kind of interesting. And the parks director introduced me to the city manager, and the city manager, David Reddy at the time, he and I kind of talked, and he's like, there might be something to you, but I still need to kind of feel out the situation because I don't want to rent the stadium, and I don't want to have the council come back and be like, I rented the stadium to somebody who didn't pay their bills, left the city looking bad because it'd been 7 years, and they'd rented the stadium when you were a little kid to other people who came in, didn't pay their bills, left a bad taste in the community's mouth, and they left town in the middle of the night. And so David and I are down at Kaiser Restaurant. And he's like, I remember vividly. He's cutting his meal. He puts his knife and fork down. He looks square in the eyes. He goes, Andrew, if we give you a lease for the stadium, can you really make it work? I put my knife and fork down. I look him square in the eyes. I go, David, I promise you. And actually, I probably said, Mr. Reddy, I promise you, if you give me a lease for the stadium, I will not only fulfill my commitment, I'll make this one of the best decisions you make during your okay, I've heard enough. We'll get you a lease. I said, that's it? He goes, yeah, that's it. We'll take care of you. I'll make sure it gets worked out. I said, so is the meeting over? He goes, yeah, I know you've got a drive back to Phoenix. That was where I was staying at the time with my aunt. I go, okay. He goes, I'll take care of lunch and I'll talk to you later. And I remember we were talking earlier about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
When George Costanza gets the answer he wants, you shut up and you leave.
Yeah. Just
Said, all right, I'll see you later. And I got out and I bailed. And I think I just got a lease for the stadium. And now I got myself a job.
What were the other 3 cities?
I went out to Chico, and I even talked to the people in Long Beach as well. So Chico could have been a very good market. Long Beach was a good market. It was really expensive, and the people in Chico didn't seem as keen on the idea of me. But I really was embraced by the community for the most part out here. And there's a number of stories I can tell of naysayers not thinking we're going to be around, or it's too hot, or people don't care, or no one's going to want to come and watch this or that or the other. And we're not the New York Yankees. I'm not trying to be the Dodgers. I'm a fan of these other organizations that are bigger and do it great. We're different. It's its own media market. That mountain keeps the sun shining. We're not getting rainouts. We're playing games. Players want out here. And I've been able to do it for going on 19 years now. And what it was in that first summer of 2004 is not exactly what it is today, but it's a good business. I've been able to raise a family out here. I mean, a beautiful wife, 3 awesome kids. I've got friends that, the old adage of, be nice to people when they're underneath you on their way up, because you never know how it's going to feel if you're on your way down or whatever. Perfect example of, hey, you and I had a great relationship. You were a 15-year-old young man. I mean, you were
for sure.
And I looked at you as, somebody that I respected your willingness to hustle, because a lot of kids didn't want to hustle at the time.
Yeah.
You wanted to have an experience, and you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty and do the different things. And I'd go out there and I'd work right alongside you.
You were just like so better than working for my dad. Then I was just like, yes, this is fucking tight. And then once, and that was before this, I was just happy to be by myself, because nobody else really worked there. You were just like, hey, here's a list of stuff to do. I'm going to go try to sell tickets, sell packages. I'm on the phone, take all these banners down, roll them out. I'm like, cool. I can wear headphones here? Sick. See you later, bro. I'm just out there washing these things, washing down the stadium. And then when the season started and I was sitting in the dugout with that first group of coaches, and those dudes just had lists of errands for me, I was like, this can't be beat. When there's college guys being like, hey, go take this paper to that girl, row 4 over there. I'm like, this is easy. I get paid to come do this. And you're just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing up here in the stands? I'm like, oh shit. I got to go and just take off. That's the first place I was like, look, what's more important is being cool. Is my boss going to be mad at me right now? Maybe. But am I going to be cool? Yeah, I got to go talk to these girls over here, or I got to go fill up these waters, or bring these beers downstairs for the guys, or whatever. I was just so hyped to be there that I was like, it's time. And that a lot of the other people were like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go over there. I don't want to do. I'm like, no, this is cake. This is not tile. Have you ever laid tile before? Laying tile sucks.
That sucks. Laying tile sucks.
Nah, dude. We work at a baseball stadium,
And you watch a team, and we've had so
and they
many
were good.
talented players. Exactly.
And we don't lose, really.
They win a ton of games. And it's a hard place to come out and win a game, because we control the sound system. We can motivate the fans, and the fans get behind our guys.
Oh, shit. Okay. When you first started, I'll put a little thing over. We'll be fine. When you first started that first season, how much experience had you had running the whole show of something, of anything?
I was green behind the ears, man. I was 20. I turned 24. We started our opening day on June 4th, 2004. We played a game on the 3rd on the road, and then when we came back on the 4th, we were getting ready to go. It wasn't until May 1st that I was that there was, the selling, all that stuff. So if I had to go back, I could definitely write a better game plan than I had for that. But I remember hiring you, and I'd hired Steve, and I hired a bunch of other people that came in. It was just a frantic, let's hire a bunch of people, let's get them kind of going. And I was flying by the seat of my pants.
Because I don't think any of those people that started that first season ever showed up. And okay, there was the ROTC dude, Mike. I wonder where I wonder where they're at today. I'm like, I wonder where that guy's at. It was me and him. He was the second person, like, that were out there working. It was me and him, and then everybody else came like game day, game one. Like they came like, it was like, hey,
Are we gonna actually have people, or are we just doing this on our own?
Yeah.
Bro? I'm like, no, we got this.
No, they're coming. And then we showed up that day. I remember it was like, we showed up on a Friday at like 1 or 2. Like I left school like right after school and got there, and it was just all these people. I'm like, oh shit, all right, I guess people work here. Like,
I guess he wasn't lying. He's not totally full of it.
He has shirts now. Like all of a sudden we have shirts. Like, this is tight. Like,
you had to be ready for game day.
That
man.
shit all came in like that day, and I was like, to an extent, like, I don't think that it ever felt like, we're barely figuring it out. I was like, oh, he's got a plan. You had like no plan. You had zero.
I had a plan, but it hadn't been executed. And I was green. I was figuring it out as I was going, because I never had
That's awesome.
all those details. I'd been a part of opening days. I'd been a part of, ticketing plans and distributing that stuff and selling that stuff. And I'd done all of that stuff, but we also, it wasn't like we were showing up for like 150 fans.
Yeah.
That opening day, we had a television crew there that was filming the game. We had all the TV networks there, ABC, CBS, NBC. We had the game broadcast live on the radio. We had 2,500 people walking through the gates. We had the concession staff. Jim and his whole crew were running that. We had lots of moving parts.
There were
and a lot of those
parts.
moving parts, and all those other kind of stuff had things. You'd seen the banners, you'd seen, the cleanup, you'd seen some of that stuff, but it was an exciting day. And as I said even before, like, it's morphed into so much more. From, we're not just selling billboards, beers, hot dogs, and tickets and merchandise. We're creating leagues where players come out. It's self-contained. We're housing them in downtown Palm Springs. I mean, we house close to 600 human beings a year for a month's period of time in Palm Springs. So you take, you talk about the number of nights, heads in beds. You start adding that up. There's a lot of head nights and beds in Palm Springs that we're doing from an economic driver for this community. And then the opportunities players have to move on in their careers, be it our winter league with the professional players going into independent professional baseball or affiliated professional baseball, to the summer collegiate players playing ball and having the opportunity to move on to a 4-year school and continue their education, scholarship or not.
Yeah, because I know it's at a whole different level now. Like, even still before, like, those first 2-3 years, those guys were all D1, OU, Georgia, Citrus College, like ballers. Like, all those dudes, a lot of those dudes went to
9 guys off of our 04 roster played in minor league baseball or big league baseball.
Yeah, there was dudes where I was just like, yo, that guy made it to the show. That's crazy. Like, you know, and it's like, they were good, but it wasn't to the extent where it's like, now that was one team that traveled. Now there's 9 teams. Two 9-team leagues you have running?
Well, in the wintertime, which we have coming up in January and February, we're going to have a 10-team league, 225 players out here from across the globe. I mean, they are coming from Taiwan, from Japan, from Canada, USA, Mexico, all over the place out here to play in Palm Springs. And they'll play 7 days a week. We'll have feature games at the stadium at 10 a.m. and 12:30. Every single day. And most of the people who come and watch those games are seniors, snowbirds, people who've got 11 a.m. on a Tuesday burning a hole in their pocket, or somebody who works remotely and they're like, you know what? I need to go get some sunshine, a beer, and a burger, and I don't want to go to Carl's Jr. to grab that. Let's go over to the ballpark and let's grab on the registration for pitchers that are playing in the mornings. And all of these games are going on our stadium, on our back turf field. And then we also use Palm Springs High School's varsity field. And then we have our power team that plays at night. So in the summer, we've got a ton of games going on in the morning. We've got a full staff that run the morning stuff. Then we've got a transition to our power games at night where a whole nother staff comes in and runs that. And
Dude, that's crazy.
it's a lot more going on now than we had back in the day.
That's complete. Yeah, you got 2 shifts, and that's crazy that.
I mean, we do group outings. Last year on our opening day for the Power, we had a big fireworks show, so we had 1,000 plus, fans buying tickets at the box office, and then we had Eisenhower Medical Center do a group outing of over 950 people coming in. 950 people doing a buffet meal for all of them. That's a challenge. I mean, you ask any caterer in any food service business, wait, you're gonna have 950 people we need to give a full plate of food to.
Yeah.
And it's not just, drive-through burgers, over a 12-hour period of time. We need to get 950 plates out in about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's exciting when everything really comes together, and I'm not doing the same job I was back then. And some of the things I'm still doing, talking with sponsors or new stuff, coming on here and chopping it up with you. But it still gives me a job that I love because I get to be around baseball. I get to be around people I like. I don't have someone else telling me you have to work with and for this person. I'm like, and that guy's an asshole. That lady, man, I don't need to deal with Karen. No,
she doesn't need to. We don't need her marketing dollars.
I don't need anything from them. They don't have to be a fan, and they may not want to be. So that's cool. I get to work with awesome partners and fans, and when people come to the ballpark, they're buying something that they want. They're not buying something that they need.
Yeah,
we need insurance. We need to go pump gas and put it in our car. We need to buy groceries and be entertained because it's dinner theater.
So 100%. It's really man, that's crazy. Because there's times where I'll be like, I don't really enjoy a live show in this situation. And then when you put it that way, you're like, oh yeah, you just repurposed. You really just repurposed like, hey, I can get both sides of the coin. I can get the players in, and I can also provide something to the community and give them a performance that they can watch while they eat.
Exactly. It's from the business standpoint, it's multiple customers. The players that are playing in our collegiate league, they might have reached out to me and said, hey, I'd love to come and play on the Power. And I'm going, thank you. I am interested, but I don't think we're going to pull the trigger. You hit 330 at this college, which it's a good college and you're getting a good education. You're a good baseball player, but I got a kid from Cal State Fullerton who hit 298 and is a draft prospect. I'm going to take this guy because I think that my baseball experience tells me he's ultimately going to be better. I could be dead wrong. Coaches, scouts could be dead wrong. This kid from a smaller school could be better. But when that player from Fullerton comes out and he gets injured, I need to bring somebody in right away. Well, hey, now I've got this kid from a smaller school who's here playing and he's hitting 340, in our collegiate league. We're just going to bring him up. So it kind of creates a minor league system that we can bring guys up, and it gives them the opportunity to have a good experience so that they're not just playing in some Sunday league with guys that are 40 years old or kids that can't throw a strike or someone who isn't helping them get better. They're competing against other guys in the same situation, and the same with our winter league. We're giving players the platform to get seen because they want to play pro ball, and they're like, I can go to a tryout, Troy, and I can work out for 4 hours, and in that 4 hours I can throw 6 baseballs from the outfield, and I can take 10 swings in the batting cage, and I can run. But am I going to show someone how good I really can play the game? Well, I'm going to give you a month to come out and play in front of 25 clubs that are looking to sign guys. Now you have that opportunity to show your abilities over a month rather than 4 hours.
That's crazy. How did on the major side, how did it I guess my question is, how did they start to? You were like, hey, I'm starting this little league. Can you guys come out to Palm Springs and see this team I have playing? They're like, all right, cool. The California, that league ended up playing like they won that national championship the first year, or went like.
Well, there's two things. The national championship was the NBC World Series, which is where the summer collegiate team had went, and we didn't win it. We did all right in 06. 04 we went there and we didn't do as good. I think we went 1 win and 2 losses, and then the losses. So we finished in the top 10, but nothing major.
Did the scouts from that initial season that you asked to come out to now? Well, from that, just we're like, hey, there's like, because like I remember that first year, some of the guys that were in the league had people like looking for them. So we'd have like a couple of scouts but now that's like,
you talking summer or winter?
Summer. The first summer to now, it's like you have that whole first section in the winter completely filled with scouts almost.
Right. Well, in the winter, there's more scouts that come out from the independent teams and the affiliated teams looking to sign these guys because these guys are free agents. In the summer, we get scouts that mainly come to our power games because they're looking for 1 or 2 specific guys, or they're evaluating guys that are there watching. They're there to watch those guys play for the power. In the winter, it's independent baseball. Major League Baseball, 2 years ago, they chopped 2,000 minor league jobs. Just straight up one day, all you franchises, you 20 franchises or whatever it was, you no longer have a franchise in minor league baseball. You can go be a summer collegiate team like the Power, or you can go be an independent professional team, and good luck to you. So they kind of went off and did their own things, and now there's fewer minor league jobs. So there's half the number of rounds in the Major League Baseball draft. So these players that might have been a 25th round or 30th round draft pick, a good baseball player, a talented young man, they're going, okay, how do I get seen? I need to go keep playing pro ball. I'm good. They can come out here, and we've got all these clubs looking to sign players. And these managers, they're moonlighting. They're going to get a salary from me to come out and evaluate the players and watch them and help them get better, but they also earn a salary for their professional teams in the summertime, and they're just scouting and looking at players to make their team better. Because if they have a better team, they may get a bonus, or they may get a higher paying job, or a raise, or something along those lines.
They're doing all that legwork there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had the Winter League. I started that in 2010. So this will be our 14th Winter League season. We didn't miss a season during the pandemic. We didn't have fans in 2021, and in 2020 we were able to run the season before the pandemic hit because it's January, February, and then things went haywire in March. We just got it in, and then the following January, February, we were allowed to do training, and so it wasn't full-on games. There were no fans. It was truly training.
Just
That's
workouts.
what it was. It was workouts, but in baseball, how do you get better at baseball, Troy, unless you actually face a pitcher? Unless you
can't
pitch
do a
to
million
me,
drills and
yeah, I can do the drills, and I can hit in the cage, and I can wear a mask, and I can do all that stuff that you have to do. But unless you can pitch to a hitter and see if you can get him out, you can't find out how good your stuff really is.
Yeah.
You're just throwing a bullpen, and I can't go and hit off of a pitcher better. I need to do that stuff.
in situational stuff and just improvement stuff. You can't do
run
it
the
without,
bases, field balls.
know where you're going. Yeah, just all kinds of stuff. So you guys were allowed to train, but you guys couldn't do any games that year. And so
Correct. No
did that
games.
really hit you like, well, you still had the players, but it
We
still
had
had
the
to hit
players in a
the,
very small group. We had about 100 players, where we'll have 225 this year. That's less than half. And some players are a little timid to come out because of the pandemic. Other players, it didn't work for them. And a lot of guys just hung it up. They're like, you know what? The heck with it. I'm out.
this isn't the time to, I'm not going to go extra. It changed, the pandemic changed a lot of people being like, hey, is this really what I'm going to focus my time on? So I could understand how some people did that. Did it change? I mean, luckily you had a good relationship with the city. So you were like, hey, we did take a financial hit, but we're locked in with you guys and you guys know what this was before we were here.
And we're going to get back to it. And yes, that's it. It was being able to work within the guidelines that the state and the city had on us. You can ask any business owner out there. There's many times during the pandemic that they're like, you know what? I just wish there were the way I run a business, let my customers be customers. We all know the risks. We've all read the articles. We've all heard the stories. We know where we're at. Now, was that reality? No, that wasn't reality. So we had to work within the restraints that were put on us.
And you guys,
we did.
And you guys did. You guys luckily had outdoors, and
Yes,
that was one of the first
outdoors.
things we got to get back to. I was like, oh, yeah, the ballpark's open. Probably drove people to just be happy to be outside.
In 21,
that were just like,
we had more walk-up box office sales in that summer than we had, and I can remember any summer. I mean, just on an average nightly basis, because we had fewer games, but fans wanted to come to the ballpark. They were starving for something outdoor, and we have a big stadium, so you could spread out. The summer of 2020, I could not run the power team, but I had that collegiate league. And this was one of the craziest things. There should be a Netflix story about how we planned. So we have the Winter League in January, February 2020. Then pandemic hits in March. Things are still crazy in April, but they're still okay. Is it going to be? It's 2 weeks to slow the spread, right? That's all it was going to be. It was going to be 2 weeks to slow the spread. So we're like, okay, we'll be able to have our summer. Well, then April rolls around, and you're like, I don't know, man. This is California,
No, I'd shut down.
Gavin Newsom's they're trying to recall Gavin. All kinds of things.
There's no one on the streets.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
This is Palm Springs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough. So I start picking up the phone. I call probably about 150 different colleges, high schools, communities, community parks, county facilities, all kinds of stuff. And I'm looking for a field, a stadium, a place that will allow us to come and play baseball. And as I run down a map in my mind right now, I called places in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, California. And I found one needle in a haystack.
Jesus.
In West Texas, an hour and 45 minutes west of Dallas, off of the 20 freeway, I found a small junior college called Ranger College. I'd never heard of Ranger College. I grew up in Texas. I didn't know there was really anything. We were an hour and 45 from Dallas-Fort Worth. We were 45 minutes from the bright lights, big city of Midland. I think is really what it was. Not even Midland, but Abilene.
Okay.
And we went out there. We rented the whole campus.
Okay, because the school's closed.
School's closed. It's middle of summer. There's no summer classes, no nothing. And we rented the dorms, the apartments, the baseball field, the indoor facility. And there was this little old lady named Sue or Shirley or I forgot her name. She had a little restaurant right on the corner of the campus property. And this is a small campus, so you walk everywhere. And I was like, hey, I want to buy 2 meals a day for everybody here. And we went out there with like 130 players. And we put them in dorms and we did all this stuff. And it was amazing. When we got on that campus, COVID did not exist. It did not exist. We went to a place, and Rangers in Eastland County. Eastland County, well, when we got there, the city of Ranger had 3 confirmed cases of COVID. Or maybe that was the county. I don't know. That's a while ago. Yeah. By the time we left, the whole county had like 20 confirmed cases in the whole county. And so, I mean, you think about Palm Springs, Riverside County, all that. It was just so small. We were in our own little bubble. There was no nightlife, no nothing to do. It was just straight baseball. Guys would go to the indoor batting cage at 11 o'clock at night and take BP.
And just get work,
We got tired of chicken fried steak and gravy and mashed potatoes. I mean, they put gravy on the salads out there. But we got through it. And I don't know if you've ever heard the term slump buster.
Yeah.
Okay, you've heard of a slump buster. Ranger was the slump buster that the Power Baseball organization needed.
For real.
It wasn't the most beautiful thing in the entire world, but it got the job done.
Got you on base.
It kept us from going bankrupt. Kept us from going bankrupt and not being a business anymore.
Dude, that's crazy. But also, like, you were like gonna the work of getting through those 100 cities that you called to find a place where you're like, somebody in this area, I'm going to think outside the box. We're going to get baseball in somewhere, and I'm going to get some people to come in. Yeah.
And I am eternally grateful for the community, for Ranger College, the coaching staff, the community there for letting us come out there and let our kids play. Let the guys play. And nobody got sick. Nobody got hurt. Everything was fine.
And you just had your own insulated league right there.
Right there.
And those guys probably had probably even more work than they got had they had come to Palm Springs. There is no, I'm going to go out tonight. I'm not going to Village Pub. I'm not
there's
sitting
none of that.
here. There's just, hey, there's 150 people.
There was
I'm really happy to work.
There was no cable in the rooms. They had their laptops, they had their iPads, and they had Netflix. That's it. You're not flipping through. I mean, you're going to an app if you want to watch,
you're
Center
locked
or
in.
Hulu or whatever.
Yeah, you were locked in.
You were locked in
on baseball that summer.
our entertainment as a staff and the coaches and whatever is we'd sit out, and it honestly was a stoop. We sat. That was our entertainment.
How long were you out there for?
Well, it was a 30-day league. I went out there for the first 8 days, and then I bailed, and my staff stayed, and then I came back out for the last 10 days. So I went 2 weeks. So it was a little easier for me than it was everybody else. I'm not gonna lie, but I signed the front of the check. I didn't sign the back of the check.
No, for sure. Yeah, you're like, hey, I bought myself this middle week off.
I mean, I didn't even take a paycheck for an entire year during COVID. I made sure all of my employees got paid every single, pay period, and we were able to get through it. And, we applied for the PPP and the loans and all their kinds of stuff. And that's a whole other job in itself. To
keep it going. Yeah. It's just like, fuck, now you didn't even know that you were in the paperwork business. And now you got to do all this extra paperwork. You were like, so at least you now appreciate all the stuff you didn't have to do, right?
Yes, and these big companies got all this team of lawyers that are doing it, and they're in the front of the line, and you're small business, and you need it. And my wife and I actually did a spoof on the old Office Space when they destroyed the printer. Because my printer at my house, it's not like my big-ass one at the office. It just wasn't working when I needed to print this document, scan this document, and it just sucked. And so obviously I went and bought a new one, brought that in, and that one worked. But, I wish I was a gangster, when he goes out there and he's beating it with a baseball bat. Oh, I did that and I threw that up there, and that was one of the funnier things.
That's hilarious. You got to find the laughs in the pandemic somehow. You were like, hey,
somehow.
You were like, you never intended to be a content creator, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I just started making good content.
I made a joke with some people, or I said a joke to them. I was like, during the pandemic when my kids were being, homeschooled, or doing the Zoom. They weren't really homeschooled, but the parents are involved to some extent, dude. Their teacher got fired. And they're like, really? They got fired? And I'm like, they're like, what'd they get fired for? I go, drinking on the job. Like, their teacher was drinking on the job. I'm like, yeah, man, you don't know what it's like to be home with 3 kids trying to help teach them. Yeah, you know what? That bottle of wine popped. That beer got popped a little earlier than 5 o'clock on when COVID was going on. And finally, I just fired myself. I was done,
dude. It was like, I can't even imagine that shit. Like. But also just being like, dang, dude, I have to be responsible for teaching you? Nah, you know what? I'm going back to this. I got this baseball camp in Texas, so I got to go check out how that's going.
A lot of that stuff got mailed in. It truly got mailed in. How are you going to Zoom a first grader? Like, I had my middle son, my middle child, my son. They're like, that ain't really working. A 5th grader, okay, fine. A 4th grader, all right, I get it.
Yeah, they're already in the program of school and the time. But yeah, first grade, they're just like, dude, you forcing me to be here anyways. For blocks and numbers, I'm pissed.
Yeah, exactly.
And no friends, I'm out of here.
Exactly.
No, that's hilarious. So that was 2020, and you did, you guys got the season in. Shout out Ranger College.
Shout out Ranger College.
Shout out Ranger, Texas. And then you brought it back, and that's 21.
So then I came back. Have games, we could just do training. We had the big turtle or a bubble on the field when the guys were hitting off of a live pitcher, and we had cones between third base and home, so everybody knew you couldn't run down and slide into home plate because that's too close of connection. You don't want to have spread COVID by someone sliding into home.
Yeah, the dust might kick up in the catcher. You
There's
never know.
all kinds of opinions. We couldn't have an umpire because then it becomes a game. We couldn't have. So the catchers were calling balls and strikes, and we had coaches around and making, hey, no, you go over to first. No, And I mean,
Yeah.
anybody who played baseball, you hit a ground ball to shortstop, and
That was an
throw
out.
it over to first. You know when you're out. You know when you're safe. You steal second base. Deep down, you got to put your sword down. You're like, oh no, come on, Blue Eye was safe, and you're trying to.
It's back to
There's
when you
no
were a kid. You only
stats.
you didn't have all three of your outfielders. You had two outfielders out there, and you're like, that was a pop fly. I was out. You're calling yourself.
No ghost runners. We were trying to make it as real as we could, but we got through it. Then we went back into the summer of 21, and we had an abbreviated schedule. We had about 20 home dates, and we still had the mask restraints until June 15. And then we had fans that were coming to the ticket box, buying tickets, coming in. It was great. They were there, and we got back on track. No group outings. The city canceled July 4th. We had a wrestling event. We brought midget wrestlers out.
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
And I'm not saying you can't tell me you can't call me, the N word, or you can't call me something that is racist. But if I'm telling you this is what I am, okay, this is okay. All right, I'm not going racial. I'm not,
They brought you their LLC name, and it was midget wrestling.
That's what it was, Micromania. And we must have had 700 fans there that night. And when the city did their laser show in Ruth Hardy Park, they had the Desert Sunset, they had 100 people show up for that. When the city did their July 4th fireworks in 2022, we had 10,000 plus people in Sunrise Park.
Yeah.
We had 6,000 people in Palm Springs Stadium. The swim center was filled. People like fireworks.
For sure.
I get some people have PTSD. I get some people have dogs. My dog doesn't like fireworks, but you know what? I give her a little Dramamine and she's cool. She chills. I can get it from the vet, and the dog is fine. People like fireworks. There were dogs when fireworks started. There'll be dogs after fireworks.
Right. No, did you have dude, that's crazy. There was 10K people
in the park.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many people. It's a sea of human beings.
Dude, that's insane. It's crazy because now we have this new arena coming, and you were like a super pioneer because you were like, hey, I can do it with less than you guys are going to do it with this, Well,
they're big time. They're big dollars. And some people like hockey, some people don't. But what that is the Valley's concert arena. That's what it is. It's for shows.
Yeah, it's a for sure Live Nation.
Dude, I've got my wife and I and a friend have tickets to go see Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. Sign me up. My wife's girlfriend was like, hey, you guys want to go to this show? And before my wife, I don't a group thread could reply. I'm like, hell yes.
No.
Absolutely. She's like, how good of tickets you want? I go, let's go baller style. And
right.
She's like, okay, they're $1,000 a piece. I'm like, okay, we don't have to go that baller style.
Pretty baller, rolling it back, wheeling it back.
Yeah, reel it back in. But you know what? It's comedy. So the joke will sound the same from the first row.
It's a great show, too.
Row.
Their show is a great show. A lot of people have been really glad I did this, and
I haven't seen either one of those guys. I've seen the Netflix and all that kind of stuff. I can't wait to see it.
It's gonna be sick. I think that's kind of I think at some point, you're gonna be the outdoor. I'm calling this early 2022. You're gonna be the outdoor version of that. Palm Springs is gonna be so quick to be fuck, we lost money. That we kind of do this to a lighter scale, and you're gonna be cool, I got you.
Let's do this.
I mean,
there is a thing called Coachella and Stagecoach that are pretty darn good. The big challenge on that is these casinos. They have some outdoor venues. You look at 29.
29
Fantasy,
has a cool one, yeah.
They've got these the Rock Yard and what do they call it? Coachella Crossroads.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to make money on the concert because they get everybody coming in and gambling. So
true.
Some of that stuff exists, and I haven't really gotten into that because the artists, and I don't know all of the promotional companies that can do it. Now I've had wrestlers, I've had, people come to me and all different kinds of stuff, and we can run things, MMA, all that stuff. And those are fun, but while I'm promoting baseball in our leagues and that stuff, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I can help. I can work with somebody. There's a lot of benefit to working with me, and I've got some experience here in this market.
I think someone's gonna see this podcast and be like, "Oh, we found a place," because
let's do it.
all those places you listed are for real, but not in the city of Palm Springs. The city of Palm Springs is aching for those outdoor things where they can draw people in and.
Always. Yeah, look how big Splash House has been. That started.
Shout out to Tyler. Shout out that whole team.
I remember when Tyler was playing high school football at Palm Springs. He's about your age.
He's 2 years younger than me. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. I remember, after you were done watching him play high school, football and knowing his parents and all kinds of stuff. Sat on boards with his dad for years. So
right. It's so crazy.
Showing my age. I'm old.
It's so crazy that, you were 23 when you came here, right? You were 23 when you,
man.
I was 14 and now I'm 32, 33. I can't count. I smoke a lot of weed.
It's all right.
That's a crazy time gap. And the desert in and of itself, there's communities that didn't even exist. You're like, what, there's houses over here now? Just in those 19 years, it's holy shit,
They've redone, that downtown versus the old mall.
The city did a reinvestment project on redoing the stadium or just updating the head front.
Deferred maintenance. Well, the city had a facilities manager that was there that a lot of things were neglected under the previous, facilities manager. But hopefully as they get new staff in place, and it also takes support from council and from city management to want to reinvest in their community and reinvest in their assets. And if they do that, then great. Not everything is about dollars and cents. They're also about, quality of life, quality of community.
Raising the property value on your city, basically.
Exactly.
Dude, that's the future, I think. I think whatever you saw then, I think what you see now is probably huge.
There's lots of different things, and my views on life, my views on politics, my views on people, they certainly evolve, they change, and your priorities certainly change. My number one priority today is my wife and kids. It's making sure that I'm doing right by my business and the staff that is my business. It's not just some 23-year-old selfish individual who's coming out here to start a business because they think it'll be fun and they can make some money doing it. No, it's about everybody else. Now, yes, I'm the conductor on that train, but that's a big part of it. And when my business gets shut down, it's not as easy just to go and find another job. Yes, during the pandemic, I went and got licenses because I got to have a backup plan because those, 4 other human beings in my house, they're depending on me. And I kept my business going and kept the full-time staff members, working because they're depending on me in the business. And it's not about me. It's about others. And the more I can do for them and for the community, then the more it'll come back to benefit me. I believe. I'm a firm believer in karma. And you get out what you put into.
No, 100%, dude. I think that you can see that just in the proof of your organization. You put everything in the beginning to the point where it's grown to people, community, the staff being like, hey, I want to be here because I want to be a part of this organization because it in turn takes care of me. And that's what I think everyone's goal is, should be build something that takes care of 5 other people outside of your house, and you'll be committed to it because you're like, shit, if I just leave tomorrow, how are they going to eat?
Exactly.
That's so cool, dude. I think your story is beyond inspirational. And I think that if you watch this and didn't think about being like, dude, can we get a team? Can we get a league of whatever it is? You can start it. Andrew's proof. If you need a job, go sign up at the Power Stadium because there's some cool stuff to do over there. Cool place to hang out.
Great
ball games.
Your office view Everybody likes baseball, but if you like entertainment, you can find joy in creating graphics and, being around people. You like food, culinary stuff. You like serving people and helping other
Promotional,
people
marketing.
and trying different things. I don't have all the ideas, but I need a team of people around that want to buy in and want to make it a great experience for everyone who comes to the ballpark, from the little kid who's watching a game and in 12 years they're going to be playing for the Power.
That is for sure. That's definitely it's from the senior that needs something to do to the kid that needs their first job to get some structure. There's definitely work over there. When does the season get started?
Winter League starts January 26th. Summer Power games start June 2nd.
Dude, year round, you got baseball.
Absolutely.
You need a place to hang out this winter. You don't got stuff to do during the day. Go hang out at the ballpark. Weekend, you want to take the kids somewhere. Super reasonable. I'm sure we'll be doing some cool giveaways through the dispensary. Yeah.
Might even have them in the CWL this year.
Dang, shout out the Green Dragons. Dude, shout out the Green Dragons. You guys got blessed to be on the tightest team in the league.
Absolutely.
The Green Dragons, the most fire team in the league. And I was so proud of those guys when they came in. They were like, bro, they made it to the championship game, right? Yes. They were like, bro, we play tomorrow. We got to win today. We play tomorrow. Coaches were in here. It's a cool.
I'm so glad we did that. Having the partnership and all that stuff, it's a lot of fun, and it started 15 years ago when you and I had no clue that we'd be sitting here today,
right?
That we'd have your company.
Yeah, for sure. I would have never been like, hey, I'm gonna have a team that I can bring to them and be like, hey, you guys want to put your name on a team? We're gonna be in the league. Not only are we gonna be marketing at the stadium, we're gonna be in the score box every day.
Exactly. And that wasn't even a part of a sponsorship or anything. That's just you know what? Let's do right. Let's do right by other people. Let's do something fun, because it can't just be inside the box thinking.
No,
everything's got to be outside. Well, not
for sure.
A lot of things.
A lot of things got to be outside.
A lot of things got to be outside.
The Palm Springs Sun thought too outside the box. That is not the.
No,
they went too far outside the box. You were a perfect example of staying just inside the box.
Exactly.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Well, thanks for pulling up. I know you got to get to it. Can't believe you carved out an hour for me today. That's fucking tight, bro. Appreciate you. The Downstem podcast. You can follow Andrew on Facebook. You can follow the Palm Springs Winter League on Instagram. You can give them all of your Instagrams. I'll make sure I put them on the screen too.
We've got our Power Summer Collegiate League on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got our California Winter League on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have stuff on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't nearly use it nearly as much as other people do, but you can certainly find you can find us out there. You find all three of our platforms. If you're in Palm Springs, definitely come out, catch a ball game, just see the ballpark. Even if you're out here and it's the off season, come by, check out historic Palm Springs Stadium, and say hello, and let me know that you heard on the Downstem podcast.
Dude, Andrew, thanks for fucking with the Downstem. We're out of here. Later, bro.